Welcome to Firearms 101. Before we head out to the live range for Module 4, we're going to spend some time on what we call dry practice, right at home. Our objective for this session is simple. We are going to walk through a complete, safe dry run of a single shot, from your initial setup to the trigger break. To start, you need three things: an unloaded firearm, a designated quiet room with a safe backdrop, and a pair of safety glasses. It is extremely important that you do not skip any safety protocols just because you are practicing at home. Treating dry practice casually leads to severe hazards and accidents. By carefully running through this sequence now, you build the correct muscle memory. When you finally step onto the live range, the mechanics will already be second nature, allowing you to focus entirely on your accuracy. We'll start by reviewing the 4 universal safety rules listed here on your screen. The first rule applies immediately. Treat every gun as if it is loaded, even if you think you just emptied it. Following rule number 2, take a moment to establish a safe direction in your room. Point your firearm toward an area where, if an accidental discharge were to happen, it would not hit anyone or anything you aren't willing to destroy. Next, apply rule number 3. Keep your index finger completely outside the trigger guard, resting it flat against the frame of the firearm. Now, manually open the action of the firearm and lock it back so you can clearly see inside the chamber. Look directly into the chamber and the magazine well. You need to visually confirm that there is absolutely no centerfire or rimfire ammunition anywhere in the system. Do not rely on your memory from the last time you handled the tool. Skipping this visual check is the single biggest failure point in home practice. Physically verifying an empty chamber gives you absolute confirmation of the gun's status. That is the non-negotiable foundation that makes all subsequent dry practice safe. With the firearm cleared, let's build your physical foundation. You can shoot from sitting or kneeling positions, but we will start with a balanced, athletic standing posture. Keep your feet roughly shoulder-width apart. Bring the firearm up and form a firm two-handed grip. Wrap your dominant hand high on the backstrap and wrap your support hand firmly around the open space on the grip, resting your thumbs forward. Raise the firearm directly into your line of sight. Align it specifically with your dominant eye, keeping your head relatively straight rather than craning your neck down to find the sights. Be careful not to hold the firearm with just one hand, and check that you aren't unconsciously shifting the gun over to your non-dominant eye. Both of these errors compromise your stability. When you establish an athletic stance and lock in that two-handed grip, your body acts as a solid base. This prevents the firearm from shifting out of alignment while you manipulate the mechanics of the shot. Now look at your designated safe target. Level the firearm so the front sight sits perfectly even and centered between the 2 posts of the rear sight. Watch this diagram. Notice how you must shift your visual focus directly onto the front sight post. The target and the rear sights should blur out. If you try to keep everything in focus, your eyes will constantly adjust and you will lose precision. As you hold that sight picture, begin a smooth, rhythmic breathing cycle. Notice how the front sight naturally rises when you inhale and falls when you exhale. At the very bottom of your exhale, there is a natural pause before you take your next breath. Let the sight settle completely during this brief window. This is your natural point of aim. By tying your sharp front sight focus to that quiet pause at the bottom of your breath, you eliminate the micro movements in your chest that pull the barrel off target. Only now, with your stance locked, sights aligned, and breathing steady, should you move your index finger inside the guard and place the pad onto the trigger. Apply slow, consistent pressure straight to the rear. The tension will build until you reach the breaking point, resulting in a clean click. Do not let go immediately. Pin the trigger all the way to the rear and hold it there for 1 full second. This post-shot discipline is known as follow-through. If you jerk the trigger sharply to make the shot happen, or release your finger the instant you hear the click, you will disrupt the mechanics and force the muzzle down. A smooth rearward press combined with a deliberate hold ensures that your perfectly aligned sights remain entirely undisturbed at the exact fraction of a second the shot breaks. And there you have it. You have successfully executed a complete, safe repetition of a dry practice shot. Step by step, you managed a safe clearance, established a locked grip, found your natural respiratory pause, and executed a clean trigger pull, all while strictly adhering to the safety rules. Spend a few minutes running through this exact sequence at home a few times a week. The repetition will cement these physical habits long before you ever load a magazine. Taking these deeply ingrained fundamentals into Module 4's live fire range ensures that your real-world shooting experience will be safe, confident, and highly rewarding. Keep practicing, and we'll see you on the line.